Hello and welcome back to my channel. Ever since starting my weight loss journey, I have put out every single year a video on what my current workout routine is, and it just happens to be that time of year where I feel like my plan is good and it will probably stay my plan for the rest of the year. My current split actually just changed, so now on Mondays I do my easy run, on Tuesdays I have my rest day, on Wednesdays I do my long run, on Thursdays I do upper body, on Friday, I do my easy run slash tempo run, depends on the day. And then on Saturday, I do either lower body or full body. And same with Sunday, it just kind of depends on the day. I'm not really going to get into too much detail on my runs for right now. I've kind of just been upping them like every week or every other week by 5 minutes just to increase time. I'm just going by time for right now. Since I don't have any race that I'm specifically training for, that's kind of just what I'm doing. My goal is to get the like easy runs up to an hour, and then that's probably where I'm going to cap it. As far as my long runs, I don't really know yet where I want to cap them. I'll kind of figure that out as I go along, but I'm not really worried about that right now because I know I'm definitely not anywhere near where I'm planning on capping them. My goal with my full body day was to create something that was kind of inspired by like High Rocks and Deca. For right now, I don't have any plans to do either of those this year. It's definitely something I want to do in the future, so I kind of figure why not start implementing some of the moves into my training right now. I kind of break up this workout into like two sections. I do two little things and then I do a couple rounds and then I do two more little things to end it off. I don't know why that's how I ended up doing it, but it's just the way I've been doing it, and I'm kind of going to stick with it because it's working for now. The first thing I like to start off with is dead hangs. My goal is to eventually one day do a pull-up, but for right now, this is what we're doing. I do the dead hangs first just because I want my grip strength to be like at its very best, I guess. So I will usually do about like 3 sets or attempts of these. For push-ups, I still can't get the classic push-up on the ground. I iffy on doing it like while kneeling, so I just use this mist machine to kind of help myself. For right now, I'll usually do 2 sets of ones that are obviously very hard to do, and then I will usually lower the bar to a set that, I can barely complete. Like it's hard. My goal is obviously over time to just keep lowering the bar, and hopefully then I will be doing a full push-up. After those two, this is kind of where I do like my little circuit kind of thing. I'll go to my little corner of the gym and I will get started with farmer carries. I've done these 2 different ways. I actually used to do them walking on the treadmill. Now I kind of just walk around the gym. It kind of depends. I've noticed walking around the gym is a little bit better, that I don't have, the timer on the treadmill staring me in my face, so that I'm like, okay, only a minute left, because now I literally just try to do them for as long as I can. I don't go for like distance or time just until I'm about to drop the weights out of my hand. I then move on to wall balls. Now, I don't know the actual height of like what the wall ball thing is supposed to be in High Rocks. I just found a little spot on the wall and I just kind of aim for that every time because that's the best that I have in this gym. Similar to the farmer carries, I will just do as many of these as I can until I feel like my form's getting sloppy and I'm not going to be able to catch that ball when it comes back down. I then move on to walking lunges. These are a huge accomplishment of mine because if you've been watching the channel for a little bit now, you might know that I have not always been able to do a lunge. So to be able to do these is huge progress in my weight loss journey. My goal with these is to do at least 20 reps. It kind of just depends, but I like 20 to at least be the minimum. My quads get fatigued so quickly, so I try to do more, but it kind of depends on how my legs are feeling. And then we move on to the move that scares me the most. I'm always too afraid I'm going to like fall and just hit my face on this box. But if you did see in a past video, I actually found a way to do them that are a little bit easier and, for me, not as scary. I usually, if you might be catching on, I kind of will just do these for as long as I can as well. Then to end off this little circuit, I usually just do a little session of core moves. My first one is an ab twist. To make this even more challenging, I try to make sure that I am standing up on my tippy toes. Obviously, it forces you to engage your core more to help balance yourself better. I then move on to knee raises. Sometimes I'll do like one leg and just focus on that one leg, or sometimes I'll kind of march into it. It depends on how stable I'm feeling. If I notice myself floating back a lot, I usually try to do the one leg so that I can like just kind of focus more on my balance. I find it easier that way. I then move on to kettlebell halos. Obviously, I'm not using a kettlebell in this move just because I don't love the kettlebells that we have in our gym. They're kind of like oddly shaped, so I just stick with the plate for this one. To finish it off, I do golf swings. This is what I've always called them. I don't know if they're called something else, but I've done them standing and now I do them kneeling just because I noticed that I feel it a lot more in my core if I'm actually kneeling. So So in my opinion, if I had to recommend either standing or kneeling for this move, definitely try it kneeling. You will feel it, I think, so much more. At this point, I would go ahead and repeat all of it all over again. Depending on my schedule, I might repeat it a few more times. It kind of just depends on the day. But we aren't done yet. Once I finish all those rounds, I then end with 2 more moves, and this is a new one for me that I had found in a past video, and it's an assisted crunch. Now, I personally really like these because I think they're really good for anybody who is struggling to do sit-ups and or someone who doesn't want to create too much pelvic pressure. Now, if I feel like at the end of my workout, like I didn't really create any pelvic pressure, then I will move over and I will use the decline bench to do sit-ups. If not, then I will just stick with the assisted crunches for that day. And those 2 final moves wrap up my full body. So let's move on to lower body. I start out with a split squat, and honestly, for a while, I kind of thought I was doing a lunge, but I kind of realized I was more so doing a split squat. I do still do lunges, but I do more of a pulsing lunge because for me, I think they're actually 10 times harder than just doing a normal lunge. I then move over and do calf raises. Now, these are super important. They help with your lymphatic system. So I usually will do these single legged, and once I can't do any more on my single leg, I will usually go and use both legs at the same time and just keep going and do about 1 or 2 more sets after that. I just recently added these back into my routine. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. Sometimes they bother my hips, sometimes they don't. For right now, we are good, so we're gonna keep doing them. Then another super important one is tibialis raises. I don't think I've really had shin splints since I've started doing these. I swear by these so much that I know we weren't talking about my running, but I keep these in my running warm-up always. Then I do squats. In the past, to add weight, I actually used to use the Smith machine, but I just never felt like my form was right using it. And sometimes it messes with my mind, like, oh, I'm not really using as heavy weight because I'm not using the Smith machine. But you know what? I think it's more important to be comfortable than force yourself to lift more. Now, while I still have that plate, I do RDLs. I personally just like to use the plate rather than the barbell because the barbell in our gym is disgusting. Like, literally, there is so much dirt and grime where you have to hold it. So I just stick with the plate. To end off our leg day, I will sit on specifically our cable machine bench because it angles upward and it just happens to give the perfect height to do leg extensions off of. And with that, we wrap up my lower body and we can move right into my last thing, upper body. I like to start with the cable machine because from past experience, I know the number one thing people want in this gym is always the cable machine. We start out with cable rows. I actually stopped doing these for a while, but since I kind of realized I don't have a rower to practice on, and this is the closest thing I have, I should definitely be doing them. Then my go-to move that has literally been in every plan ever since day 1 in the gym, the lat pull down. I have tried so many different variations of this, but for me, just the classic lat pull down works the best. These are a fairly new one that I just added, these archer pulls. I absolutely love these and they are quickly becoming a favorite. Literally the first time I did them, I was feeling like parts of my shoulder that I had never felt before. I don't know, something about them. I absolutely love them. I then do face pulls. These you can do 3 different ways, and I say that because I've done them 3 different ways. You can do them standing, you can do them kneeling, you can do them sitting on the ground. For me, it doesn't really like change as much as the golf swings do. I don't notice a difference on how much I can lift compared to another version of it. I then take the rope off and attach the bar and do cable push downs. Personally, my preference is using the bar. I know a lot of people do like the rope, but for me, I don't feel my triceps as much with the rope as I do with the bar. I then lower the cable machine and using the same bar, I do wrist flexions. I don't really have a set amount of how many of these do. I usually will just go until my forearms are burning. And with that, we wrap up the cable portion and we move on to the free weights. I like to start with the bench press because that is like the number one thing people want in the gym, even over the cable machine. So I like to try to get that right out of the way, especially since the bench press and the skull crushers are the only 2 moves I need it for. I've been doing it this way since I did the first ever trying the Tomb Raider workout video. For me, this is the way that I feel it the most in my triceps. I then like to alternate between bicep curls and hammer curls. So I'll do a set of bicep curls, then hammer curls, bicep curls, hammer curls, and I will usually go back and forth for about 3 sets. And then with my last 2 moves, I do the same thing. I will do lateral raises and then front raises and just keep going back and forth. And that wraps up my current lifting routine. Obviously, there is a chance that some things could change. I'm always on Instagram finding different moves and seeing like, would that work, and trying it out because that's just who I am. But for right now, I feel like these are the core things that are going to stay there. It is probably best to subscribe because knowing me, I might tweak it a little bit here and there. Literally just this week is when I changed the order that I'm doing my workouts in. Since I didn't get to mention this really in the beginning, the places that I have certain workouts are like not really there for any specific reason. It's just what happens to fit best in my schedule currently. And I think having it where it fits the best in my schedule is like the most important thing, because for me, that just makes it easier and makes me more likely to actually get up and do my workouts. Also, obviously, all these moves work for me. They might not work for some people. I literally just learned how to like do a lunge not that long ago. So make sure you do everything at your own pace, consult with the doctor before you try anything. I just always love to share this to give people ideas, because for me, that is exactly where I get all of my ideas for my workout plans, is just from watching other people online. But that is all for this week. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you soon. Till then, roll the outside.